Welcome to day 5 of the Soul Movement Challenge. Moving in more diverse ways, moving in more consistent ways. Proud of you for showing up and being consistent. So today we are going to be diving into some new movement as per usual, and we're going to start out in a standing position, and we're going to start out kind of how we did on day 1, where we're going to get a little bit of like a calf raise going on. And what I want you to do here is try to be as elastic as possible or as springy with your movement as possible. And all I'm going to do is get like a small little step back and forth. So I'm staying on the balls of my feet. My heels are just very gently touching the ground. And I'm just starting out with, you can kind of think about it almost like you're jogging in place, but without picking the feet up much. And I'm just going to get a nice rhythm here, a nice like soft point of contact onto the ball of the foot. Again, heels are just gently touching the ground. We're just going to get a nice little, get our groove going, get our movement going. Show you it from a couple of different angles here, kind of play around with your own angles. Keep in mind that all of these movements are movements that you could be doing anytime that you go into your own movement session. One of my favorite things is just building a practice around a consistent time container. So picking out like every day at 9 a.m., I'm going to be moving my body. And that's the intention of this challenge, is to just create consistency with your own movement and allow you to play with your movement a bit more. I think we've gotten too rigid in our own mindset of what movement means. Okay, so we're going to stay with the feet pretty close together. We're going to kind of pretend like we're jumping rope now. So we are going to take it into slightly more intensity, but I want you to try to keep that same intention for what the feet are doing. But now we're pretending like we are holding a jump rope and we're getting a rhythm. Again, the heels might come down and touch the ground, but most of your weight is in the ball of the feet. So nice posture here. Keep your back nice and upright. If this feels like too much, you can always regress it back to, again, just this, where I'm just doing that calf raise. All right, picking it back up. Again, good posture, trying to stay upright, trying to let your ankles and calves do most of the work. All right, you can rest. You can let everything settle a little bit. Again, we're still only on day 5. Still trying to take it slow. Yeah, we are going to be playing a little bit with the intensity, but not so much that it ruins what we've already built in the consistency. So with that in mind, we're going to take it now to waking up and warming up the shoulders. So we're going to bring the arms up overhead, and then we're going to bring it back down. And today, we've done a lot of different body movements with this. Today, we are just focused on the shoulders and the arms. So it's just up and down. As simple as that. Up, down. And you can kind of, if you want to play with where your palms are facing, so my palms are facing each other, but you could just as easily bring your hands out so your palms are facing forward. Or if you want to challenge yourself a little bit, it will be slightly harder to go where your palms facing behind you, but you can definitely play around with either one of those. But again, I'm going to keep my palms facing each other, get a nice little rhythm to my shoulders. Keep going with it. And then we're going to change the pattern. We're going to go open. So we're going to go from this position to here and back in. So it's kind of like you're doing like a really exaggerated clapping motion. And in this position, you can kind of notice most people are going to have like your arms are going to kind of almost do a little bit of a lopsidedness. Your goal is to try to keep it straight across, but I definitely don't want you to fixate too much on that. So especially right now, allow your arms to kind of go where they naturally want to go. Good, allowing the shoulders to warm up a little bit. Nice, okay, we are continuing with the shoulders warming up and waking up. We're gonna bring the feet out a little bit, so the feet are more like shoulder width apart. The knees are bent here. I'm gonna bring one arm up, and this is a very, I want you to be kind of generous with your movement pattern today. So a lot of the movement we're going to be doing is going to be working kind of specific angles. And I want you to know that it's okay to kind of be in the gray area. It doesn't have to look exactly like what I'm doing. Just try to get the essence of it. So one arm is up and I'm reaching down, trying to touch the ground while looking up at the hand that's up. So coming back up, I'm pushing my hips back, trying to touch the ground, bringing it back up. And again, I'm kind of holding my fingers up towards the ceiling. And the more you can rotate your upper body, the better. But again, just try to get the spirit of that movement. Don't feel like you got to be super rigid movement like this, especially people get in the mindset of trying to treat it the same way that they would treat lifting weight in this position. And what we're doing right now is just playing with the movement. So it might look a little different than kind of what you've been taught in a similar movement pattern with weight. All right, so you can shake it out. That shoulder might be feeling good. It might feel a little fatigued. And we're going to do the same thing. So staying with the same stance, bringing one arm up, and then we're going to go down, try and touch the ground, coming back up to standing, and then back into it. Again, feel free to bend your knees how you need to. Feel free to rotate your body as much or as little as you're able to. We're trying to just play with the movement. So don't feel too rigid here. As we develop movement patterns, as we play with movement patterns, we'll get into deeper specifics around how you can do some of these movements to make them more efficient or to allow them to be more adaptable for things like lifting weights. But for right now, just moving in some weird ways. Nice. Okay, you can rest, you can shake it out. And then we're going to be crawling our way. And this will be done a little bit of crawling already. We did a crawl very similar to this, but today we're going to keep the feet about hip width apart, so a little closer together. And we're going to walk the hands out to a full plank and walk it back up to standing. And the entire time, I'm going to keep a very soft bend in my knees. So I'm here all the way out to a plank and then all the way back up to standing. Again, take your time with this. Make sure you don't collapse the shoulders when you're in the plank position, keeping the core nice and strong. Good. We're going to get a few more reps here. Just taking your time with it, allowing your body to kind of start heating up a little bit, start to feel that internal heat. All right, you can rest. And then we're going to be starting to play with our squat. So we haven't really done much with squats. We have been in squatted type positions, but as far as kind of a standard squat or what we kind of think of in a fitnessy terminology, we're going to be doing that type of squat. So feet are going to be shoulder width apart. And I want you to treat it almost like you're going to sit down on something behind you. So I'm kind of pushing my butt back as if I'm sitting down. And then once you get down to about where the thighs are going to hit parallel to the floor, then you're going to stand back up. And if you've done a ton of squats before, it's going to feel really basic. If you haven't done a lot of squats before, this might feel really challenging to get this deep. So just get as deep as you can, still be able to control the movement. Want to hold tension throughout the movement. So try not to go passive at the bottom. And for those of you who have done a lot of squats in the past, think about interpreting the squat a little differently in the sense of being able to play with the movement. So when you go down, just kind of check in with the body. Are you holding tension in areas that don't need it? Are you able to go maybe more upright or more pitched forward? Can you play more in the movement? Because there will be times when being more forward is actually more ideal, and there will be times when being more upright is quite a bit more ideal. And it's not right or wrong. It's merely a point of expression for the body. Good, get a nice cadence with the breath. Let's get a few more reps. Nice, okay. We're gonna start to play around with some deeper positions. So we're now gonna bring the feet together. We're gonna bring the heels up so you're on your tippy toes. And from that position, we're gonna try to bend the knee in this position and try to get as deep as you can with still be able to come back up. So it might look like what I just did, bending the knee, standing back up. And the goal here is the whole time to try and keep the heels up. So every time I come down and come back up, my heels never come down. Come down, come back up. For those of you who the squat felt really good for, try to take it a little bit deeper. See if you can make it all the way down to almost a resting position down here. But the kicker is you still need to be able to bring yourself back out of it. So if you can't, don't go that deep. But if you can, go ahead and try and kind of mimic that each time. You can even chill a little bit at the very bottom, but remember your goal is to still make it back up. And if you want to dial it in a little bit more, think about your body posture here. So if you look at me from the side, the goal eventually, and I don't know if this will happen, might take a month or two. So it may not happen during the challenge, but while you're doing this, you're going to try to keep the back nice and vertical so that all the way up and all the way down, you're traveling on that vertical line. Just a nice little fun challenge to work your way towards. All right, so you can shake that out. That can be a lot for the quads, especially if you're not used to it. So I realize that. And we're gonna break it up a little bit. We're now gonna go to, we played with a single leg movement yesterday. We're gonna do another single leg movement today, but this will actually be a little bit more gentle than the one we did yesterday. So today we're gonna be standing on one leg. All you're gonna do is, if you're standing on your left leg, your right arm is gonna come down and touch the ground and then come back up. So very simple. You're not gonna do anything crazy. We're not gonna move the leg around too much. Again, just coming down, touch the ground, come back up. Coming down. And if you're not already, I would highly recommend, especially with the balancing movements, to try and be barefoot if you're able to. A big, big connection to how your body stabilizes and creates balance is through the connection that your foot has to the ground. And anything you have in between the ground and you is going to make that harder. So even like right now, even though I'm barefoot, I'm on a soft mat. And this mat is also making the balance a little harder than if I was just on like flat dirt, for instance. All right, let's go ahead and switch sides. So now I'm standing on one leg again. My opposite arm, so if I'm standing on my right, my left arm is coming down to try and touch the ground. Just make sure you stand up all the way in between. Whoa, almost fell. I can hold it though, and you can hold it too. If you start wavering, if you start feeling like you're falling out of it, just really think about, it's really the big toe on the foot that's going to be kind of your balancing toe. So pushing that big toe down is going to help to stabilize the foot a lot more. But it's just a good reminder, even for myself, to keep that big toe engaged if you start to feel yourself lose balance. You don't have to keep it engaged all the time, but it will help you to stabilize. We are trying to kind of break the mold, so to speak, trying not just move in the same kind of cookie cutter ways that you've seen. A lot of this challenge is about establishing, one, obviously a consistent movement practice, but two, being able to move from those deeper parts of you requires you to break the mold of what you've been taught. Most of the fitness type teaching of movement keeps us in a very boxed way of thinking, and I want you to break outside of that. I want you to think about movement in a way of expressing, in a way of moving creatively, not just in a way of trying to make our muscles look a certain way. Okay, so with that in mind, let's come on down and we are going to go into a straight legged position. And this time we're going to be going This will be kind of our first side plank type position. So we're going to be on the forearm. We're going to have this leg out in front of us. So position just like so. When I tell you to, you're going to lift your hips up and we're going to try and hold this position. But don't do it just yet because we're going to try and hold it for a certain amount of time. So establish your position. Make sure you're feeling good. Got a good setup. And then we're going to go in 3, 2, 1, and hold. So I'm pushing into this leg. I'm keeping that bottom foot nice and active. And I'm trying to create nice alignment where my shoulders are somewhat stacked on top of each other. So try to resist wanting to rotate the shoulders forward, trying to create good stability. Again, you can play with that though. So if you want to purposely do that, just know it's less efficient. So you're going to actually work harder that way. Whereas when they're stacked, I'm actually having to work a little bit less, especially in some other areas that wouldn't necessarily be the main emphasis of the movement. On this version, I get to get my obliques a little bit more and rest. Okay, you thought I forgot about you, but I didn't. All right, so coming back to the other side, kind of the same principle here. We got the leg out in front of us. We've got the other leg fully out, trying to make sure this bottom foot stays nice and rigid so I can be balancing on the outside edge of that. And then we're gonna go again in 3, 2, 1, and let's bring it up. And then again, try to fight for that nice like shoulder stacked position. And more than likely, one side is definitely gonna feel a little harder than the other. For me, the shoulder tends to be a little bit weaker than the other. So for me, this side is definitely the harder of the two, but it depends on you and kind of, yeah, what your position looks like and feels like. All right, in 3, 2, 1, and rest. All right, here we go. Getting some good movement in now. All right, we are now gonna take it to a crawling pattern. We're going to do kind of the first full rotation. So we just played with a rotation where we went from a knee hand position or this kind of setup to an inverted position. I don't know if you remember that from a day or two ago. We're going to do that now, but we're also going to bring it back to this position. And we're going to do that all while the knees stay off the ground. So it is going to be a little bit challenging, and obviously we've done a lot already, so pace yourself here. Take a second. And if you want to watch me do a rep or two before you start, that's perfectly fine. But we're going to start with the knees up and we're going to spin. So we're going to bring the leg underneath. I'm going to bring the hand down and then I'm going to come back the same way I came. So this foot is up, it's traveling under me. Now I'm going to go the other way. Leg under me, leg under me. So every single time I move, regardless of which direction I go, the leg is always traveling under me. Under me, going under me again, going under me again. So again, going, let's say I'm going to use my right leg. I'm going to go under me and then back. Now my left leg under me and then back, under me and then back, under me and then back. So if you were to, accidentally go the other direction with it, that's perfectly fine. It is really easy to end up doing an over the leg. And the reason why I kept saying under is to remind you that what we're trying to avoid is this. And that's what a lot of people do when they're new to the movement, is they want to take the leg over and do that. But what we're trying to do is work the core a bit more. So we're trying to take this leg under and then back. All right. So you can rest, you can shake it out a little bit. Now we're going to come back up to standing. All right, so hopefully you're feeling good. This next one's going to be a triplet. So it's going to be 3 different movements that are all going to interconnect with each other. And we're going to do more and more of these kind of movements that connect, because I want you to feel like you're building a language, not an individual thing. So a lot of our movement in the fitness world teaches us that a deadlift it's got a very defined start, very defined end, and that is the completion of the movement. But when it comes to breaking the mold on our movement, getting outside of some of those fitness ways of thinking, we want to think about it as, okay, instead of drawing a straight line, can we draw a circle? Can we allow a movement to build, but also to move in ways that continue to evolve the movement? So with that in mind, spacing it out, a lot of verbiage for going into this next one. So we're going to bring the arms out into a T. We're going to go into that spiral that we've done before. So here and here, and just keep going with the movement. I'll tell you when to switch. Good, keep going, keep going. All right, we're going to keep going with it, but now we're going to look at the palm that's up and we're going to shift our body over. Notice I'm not doing really anything with my lower body, just shifting my body a little bit, looking at the palm that's up, and then doing the same thing on the other side. And as you're doing this, try to keep a relatively straight line with the arms. It's okay if it doesn't end up being perfectly straight, but instead of dropping this arm, basically just trying to keep it up. Good, keep going, you're doing great. Keep fighting for it. All right, got one more. Still keep the arms out. Let that burn grow a little bit. We're gonna come down into the hips now. We're gonna go left to right with the hips and stay with the same pattern with the upper body. Come on, keep breathing. I know this is a tougher one, but you got this. Keep breathing. Let those hips drive down. Try to move with the hips. Don't just move the shoulders, move the hips and the shoulders. And rest. All right, shake it out. Feel proud of yourself on that one. That's a tough one. Very tough one. So getting to work a lot of kind of evolving some of the patterns that we've already worked, but also getting to work some new stuff. All right, with that in mind, we're going to change pace just a little bit, and we're going to come back to kind of, I would say, a more relaxed pattern. And this is going to be taking the arms out and around, and it's going to feel a little bit like you are moving like in water, for instance, and doing like a backstroke, or I'm not 100% sure that's right. For those of you in the comments, feel free to correct me. So we're just letting those arms kind of circulate and go backwards, kind of leaning back slightly. All right, you can shake it out. I realize the shoulders might feel a little smoked at this point, and that is okay. Okay, we are gonna get the legs a little bit more, just a little bit, nothing crazy. We're gonna come back down to the ground. And we started to play around with this a little bit. I think it was yesterday. We're gonna play around with it a little bit more. So we're gonna come to where both knees are down. So we lifted and lowered yesterday. Today, we're gonna do something a little bit different. We are gonna lift and lower, but we're gonna swivel once we've lowered. So we're gonna go up, down, around, up, down, around, and letting that build. And don't worry too much about, your back might round a little bit. We are ultimately trying to do this with minimal flexion from the back, but especially when you're new to it, I don't expect that to look that way. Just basically let it, let the space be accommodated by moving around as much as you need to, because this can be a pretty tricky pattern to learn, but it's a really, really good one to use in a cool down, in a warm up, really fun one to use on the ground with the kiddos. Fun one to just play around with. You can even play around with it as just like almost like a movement puzzle where you try to figure out new ways to move in those positions, or even holding on to something, keeping your eyes closed. Lots of ways to play with that position. So done with day 5. All right, we are rocking and rolling, and I appreciate you staying with me on that last one. I know, or on that movement a couple away where we got into the triplet, because I realize that's a pretty tough one. Well done today. Stay curious, my friends. I'll see you tomorrow.